Every night, the woman would tear a little bit of her own skin. A few hours later, she, who had successfully recovered, began to twist her waist in front of the mirror, drunk on her own body. Only the face was still tangled with a bandage, not fully recovered. But the woman did not know that her son had seen these. A few days ago, the twins left their father and came to their mother's home. They were originally happy to come to see their mother, but after entering the house, they found that it was a mess here. There were even flies around the remaining food. At this time, the mother walked out, but her face was covered with gauze. The two boys were shocked. The woman just did a little surgery. She said she needed to start over. Now the two boys still don't understand what that means. Back to the room, the two boys thought their mother had changed. Suddenly, the mother walked in with a gift. But the strange thing is that she didn't give it to her brother, only to her brother. The mother told them to stay quiet if they wanted to live here. The other point is that they must not enter the barn. They agreed. But for the 7-year-old child, their hearts were already full of curiosity. As a result, the naughty brother secretly opened the door of the barn. He climbed up the attic and put some toys on it. There was also a storybook, but there is a paint bucket next to it. Even the wood on the wall seems to have residual red. The younger brother thought it was painted paint. However, as soon as he climbed out, the mother grabbed him, angrily asked him why he didn't listen. The younger brother was scared. As a result, the mother slipped his leg to the ground and scratched his arm. The older brother still carefully put the medicine on him, and the strange thing started. At night, the younger brother dreamed of that barn. He woke up suddenly, but he heard the mother downstairs calling someone. The younger brother looked down curiously, but suddenly the woman seemed to have found him. He hurried back to his quilt and was so scared that he didn't dare to breathe. The woman was a little closer, but fortunately she just helped him cover the cup and turned around to leave. They thought the mother was getting weirder and weirder. In order to figure out the truth, while the mother was not paying attention, secretly put a walkie-talkie under his bed and found sleeping pills in his room. The younger brother also saw that their portraits were also thrown on the table by the mother. Suddenly there was a footstep sound downstairs. They hurriedly hid. The younger brother saw it from the curtain. The mother began to rub her hands in front of the mirror, even took off her pajamas. The behavior was not the mother in his memory. Completely like a person, he was so scared. As a result, he found the painting he gave to his mother in the trash can. At that moment, he was very sad. Then the mother came to the bathroom again. He thought about it. He took off his headgear. At this time, the younger brother was hiding under the wash basin, but still couldn't see his mother's face. Just when he thought his mother had left. Unfortunately, the woman found the painting on the ground. He seemed to have noticed something, angrily tore the painting in half. The younger brother was even more incredible, because his mother will definitely treat what they gave as a treasure. The more they think, the more strange. Think this is not their mother at all. To verify that, they secretly took a picture of the woman. After enlarging and comparing with the only picture of the mother, sure enough, they found something wrong. Their mother's eyes are green, but this woman's eyes are blue. So who is the woman around them at this moment? Where did their mother go? Before they could react, the door of the bedroom suddenly shook violently. The mother put her own son in the bathtub, poured cold water on him, forced him to call his mother. But the boy didn't call because he thought the one in front of him was not his mother at all. Since they came to this house, the mother wrapped in gauze and behaved strangely and emotionally unstable. They just called Dad. The woman rushed into the room, like a crazy robber, throw it into the crusher. There is also the only picture of them and their mother. The two children were scared. They blocked the door with the cabinet, start changing water at night, afraid that the woman will rush in again. Suddenly, the brother heard a strange voice again. He walked into his mother's room with a curious face. See the mud on his face? He can't help but want to tear it apart to see his true face. But the woman suddenly woke up, grabbed him by force. The brother was scared. The candle on the table was smashed. The woman was also completely enraged. She angrily twisted the door handle. "I can't open it." started to smash wildly with a hammer. The brothers were so scared that they didn't dare to move. But then the brother got up and said angrily, "That's a terrible thing to say. Our mother loved us." The woman was like a devil, pulled the brother into the toilet. The brother's anxious stop was useless. The woman poured ice water on the brother, forced him to admit that he was his mother. Finally, the boy could not stand it anymore. "You are my mother, you are my mother." But at midnight, the brother woke him up, said to take him away from here. The two ran for a long time in the rain, finally saw a house. It seems to have been abandoned for a long time. The two can only spend the night here for the time being. Worried that the brother was afraid, the brother also told the story to coax him to sleep. But just fell asleep. The brother dreamed of that terrible barn. He was so scared that he found his brother missing. He searched everywhere. Suddenly found a fingerprint on the glass. He carefully looked over. Suddenly a terrible monster appeared. He smashed the glass and slowly approached the boy. The boy was completely scared. But fortunately, this is just a dream. It was the local police who found them. They said their own encounter. The police said they would take them to a safe place, but found that they were taken home again. At this time, the woman was waiting at the door, but this time she cut off the bandage. The two boys found that this was the mother's face. She pretended to be very kind in front of Fobler. But the two boys know this is the appearance of another person, disguised as a mother. But how could Fobler believe two children? So they were left behind again. The woman walked in and told them she won't blame as long as they can be a little bit, but after going back, the woman began to cry secretly. As a result, the next morning, he found himself tied to the bed. Two 7-year-old boys tied his biological mother to the bed. Then the boy picked up a bucket of water, held 2 ice cubes, all poured on his mother. He forced the woman to ask where his mother was. He took a picture of his mother. Say, "Mom has green eyes, but she is blue." The woman tried her best to explain, "That's the beauty she brought." She doesn't believe it. She took out the words that her mother had torn. The woman began to cry. Her brother kept reminding her not to believe him. He also asked his brother to leave quickly, but
Brother kept persuading. He began to look for the woman's beauty in the house. He wanted to prove that the woman was lying. At this time, his brother seemed to notice something. He slowly walked to his mother's bag, shouted. But when his brother ran over, he said he didn't find anything. He gently reminded his brother to leave quickly. They started packing, but his brother began to hesitate. If he tied the woman there, he might die. When he was about to leave, his brother heard the woman calling his name. The woman let go of her breath, apologized to him for her abnormalities. His mother kept telling him he can think independently. Don't listen to your brother. At this time, the boy seemed to be soft. He slowly picked up the scissors. Suddenly, his brother walked in. His face was cold. He asked his brother what he was doing, but his mother kept begging him not to believe his brother. But in front of this strange woman, his brother was more willing to believe. Brother who gets along with his wife. Then he took a stinky sock, sealed his mother's mouth, and his brother's expression seemed to have changed. Just when they were about to leave, the 2 patrols found the door that night. If they are found, it's over if they kidnap my mother. At this time, they can't escape. I can only open the door with my head. My mother also heard the movement upstairs. His brother lied that his mother went here, but the woman was struggling crazily upstairs. The woman didn't believe him. I have to call my mother, but the woman's cell phone is silent. Unfortunately, the 2 had to leave first. But suddenly the woman turned the table. The female police also heard the movement. Both of them panicked, but he was still strong and calm. And the male police was also urging, "This is the only way to escape." But my brother can't rest assured. He forgot to bring a toothbrush and turned back. This time he walked slowly to his mother's bag. As a result, he really found a green bucket inside. The liar is my brother. At this time, my brother no longer believed him. Kick him hard. He ran in and cut the rope of my mother. My brother was crazily persuading outside the door. But suddenly there was no movement. My brother kept holding my mother and apologizing. Looking at the helpless son, my mother didn't want to hide it anymore. She wants her son to go somewhere with her. But after going to jail, my brother never saw my brother's figure. As a result, my mother took him to the barn. That nightmare has been flashing. My brother was a little hesitant, but my mother took him to the attic. She let the boy look up at the plank, but a feeling of fear suddenly engulfed him. At this time, my mother told him the truth. It turned out that the boy's brother died a year ago. At that time, my brother didn't know that he had a bullet in his gun. As a result, he accidentally killed my brother. He couldn't accept the reality, selectively forgot that memory. Even the fantasy brother has been by his side. At that time, my mother was also depressed. The spirit also began to fail. She wanted to change her face and start over, so she let her husband take her son out for a walk. But after coming back, her son's symptoms didn't get better. It's getting worse. She talks to her dead brother every day. Invisible, those terrible images. In fact, they are all his nightmares. At this time, my mother wanted to tell him face to face, let him accept the fact, but the boy couldn't believe it. As a result, he accidentally pushed his mother down. This time, he also killed his own mother completely. At this time, the oil lamp also slowly ignited the firewood. He ran out of fear. The bigger the fire behind, the more you look for it. My mother's body also followed that terrible memory, swallowed in the fire. At this time, my mother and my brother appeared again, gently comforted that this was not his fault. In fact, this is the escape of his heart. He fell into another fantasy, a fantasy that he thought was complete.